Welcome back, everybody, to VALORANT Champions in the beautiful LA. And it's time for our second elimination match of the day. It's FPX versus T1. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I've got Sean and Valen here with me. What a treat this is, you guys. How was the first match? Was it fun?
Wait, first of all, it's crazy that you're going to come out here and not be a bully.
What do you mean?
You were the biggest bully off air, right?
What do you mean?
No, I agree. I thought I was not expecting that, but thank you.
But thank you so much. Thank you for the invite.
What is happening?
The first...
Is it too late to bring Mimi back? Mimi, where are you?
She's talking madness.
No, wait, okay. If you want to go there, Sean, I will go there. But let's talk about T1 and how they did in their opening game, because I feel like, just like what you just said, Sean, it was very uncharacteristic. You know, we didn't really expect T1 to lose in the fashion that they did.
I mean, I had Foot advancing through this group, but I thought the game between Foot and T1 would be by like a razor's edge. I thought it would be so close, and the way T1 played in that series was awful. I think a lot of their late round decision making was completely out of whack. They got the spike down in so many rounds and misplayed almost every post plant, Yinsu. It was abysmal watching them. I think they regressed from Tokyo, actually, having watched them, you know, in that opening best of three.
Yeah, and I want to say, I feel like they started the best of three kind of decent, but their fundamentals dropped off completely throughout the series.
Yes.
We saw towards the end rounds, like in post plants or trading out the 3v3s, a lot of solo fights happening from T1, and I think most of it is just that they don't have their fundamentals down when the pressure's high, because throughout like the early stages of the round, I think they were playing it okay, like macro-wise, but when it came down to like crunch time and trading out 3v3 or having a good post plant, they always failed every time, which is why there was such a large margin of how they lost.
I mean, the good news is that the only way is up, right? Because like I said, it was uncharacteristic. We expect more from them. For more on T1, let's send it over to Tom Biz, who is standing by with Zeta.
Zeta, let me grab you for a second. Now, I want to ask you, the game versus Foot, I think a lot of people were maybe a little surprised by the result. It didn't quite go to plan. I want to know for you, what do you put the loss down to, and what have you done to get ready for today?
I just didn't wear my lucky charm, so yeah, that's the reason only. Yeah, bye.
Just the lucky charm, okay. Just the chain, that's all he needed.
Thank God he's wearing it today, right? How much,
Power of the chain.
Yeah, how much of a buff do you think that's going to be?
Oh, 100%. I think he's going to be super confident, chain on, just having fun out there. 45 kills, 100%.
Dude, real talk though, I think T1 can actually turn things around and likely get out of this group. I saw the structure that they were aiming for in that first series, and had things, like you said, not just panned out in weird ways due to the scrappiness that Foot made those rounds.
Right.
I think their executes would have looked S tier, but Foot disrupted almost every one.
But their opponent today, very different team from Foot, playstyle, almost everything. It is FPX, of course. Chinese Valorant has been incredible in this tournament, so I just don't feel like, Sean, we can underestimate anybody right now.
They are so fun to watch, Yinsu. I love watching FPX. I know that sounds crazy because the other two Chinese teams have had more success so far in this Champions run so far, but FPX has shown they're willing to create their own comps, cook up crazy things. They're running double controllers across almost every map except Bind, where they're running Arena Jet, which is just outrageous. I mean, they're willing to just craft completely new styles to the game, and I respect it.
No, I respect it too, and when we saw their match versus EG, they had a glimpse of hope that what they're cooking up, while it may be very kind of absurd and out of this world for what we've been seeing recently, it is shown to work, right? Obviously, they're not up to perfect standard because they lost 13-8 twice to EG, but if they can fix the little things like their fundamentals, their trading, because macro-wise, they're very impressive macro-wise. Their IGL Berlin is very good tailored at slowing the round down when it gets hectic, when it gets very chaotic, because that's how they thrive in the beginning. Slows it down, collects his team. I think they just need to work on closing out post plants and trying to get it together towards the end.
I mean, this is the thing, they pushed EG. It was not easy for EG to win that series, but let's send it back to Tom right now and get a quick word from Ayoung on the side of FPX.
Right, I am going to be grabbing Aya, who will be coming over. Obviously, your performance versus EG had a lot of good signs for the team. Is this the day that FPX finally get themselves a win?
在你们之前和 EG 的那场比赛里，你的表现也是非常出色、可圈可点的。那你觉得今天会是 FPX 的一个首胜吗？
我觉得今天的首胜对我来说没有那么的重要。我觉得
这就是一个舞台，我们只需要在舞台上展现出自己。但是今天拿到首胜更好，大家有一个更好的状态，当然拿首胜也很简单。
Definitely, we want to get the first win of this tournament, but it doesn't matter if we couldn't win today, because no matter what the result will be, we just want to do to standing here to enjoy this stage, enjoy to standing on this stage and playing games in this arena. That's all we want to do.
That's great. I hope you have a good luck today and best of luck in the tournament.
I'm surprised to hear that from him because elimination is on the line, but maybe sometimes you need to kind of feel a bit more calm and cool.
Yeah, ease your mind for a big match like this, especially elimination game. They kind of just need to go into it feeling easy, and that's like probably like a cope in his head to try to chill out.
Yeah, I want to talk about Ion real quick as well because he was clutching out of his mind against EG, Sean. He was trying his utter best to try and drag them over the line.
Yeah, I think when I've seen this team, he stands out the most. I love his Sky play, especially on these weird double controller comps they're running, like the Ascent comp with an Omen Astra. He's asked to do a lot with his kit, if I'm being honest, and he comes through in the clutch quite often. Again, I think this is a dangerous underdog in this tournament, and I think T1 cannot overlook FPX here entering this game.
Yeah, I don't think either side too. I don't think FPX need to or can overlook T1 either. Both of them seem to be quite strong right now. I mean, they have the potential to be quite strong. I want to talk about the IGLs real quick before we go to map select because I've never been blessed by in the presence of two such great IGLs before.
Thank you so much.
Of course, two of the best. But let's talk about Zeta and Berlin on both sides. What do you guys make of these IGLs? You know, what do you think about their style? Anything that you would potentially maybe want to see them do?
Yeah, so something that sticks out to me a lot is that for FPX, I think they start rounds with very high pressure. Not every round, of course, but they're a team that takes aggressive map control early and then slows it down very well, which causes reactions from the other team. So I think macro-wise, they kind of remind me of just like explosive, slow down, wait for a mistake to happen and then punish, right? You see a lot of like 4 to 5 man executes for them. But for T1, I would say it's more of like a push-pull style. You're going to see a lot of extremity control, back and forth, trying to look for openings or just look for map space instead of just playing packed, like we see FPX do a lot. Also, I think both teams are kind of like a hybrid IGL of they like to slow the game down, but they also love their fast executes, right? They're so into like their 5-mans and their fast splits. Like when we watch Ascent, like their B split and their cat splits, it's so good. But what really makes the difference, like I'm talking about, both similar, is that when it gets hectic, when they get blocked or when they have to slow down the round, I would say FPX is actually better at slowing it down and making the correct read. I saw yesterday on Ascent, yeah, they get stuck in catwalk and they full pivot from their position in cat back to spawn to B. Like they're pulling out the mid round so perfectly, and they're both exciting IGL.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where we're gonna go today for the maps. Let's find out now.
All right, let's jump right in. T1, you are higher seed, Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B, FPX, you will be Team A. We will start with your first ban.
Fracture.
They banned Fracture, your ban?
Split.
Split. Map number 1 from FPX. Lotus, side on Lotus.
Defense.
Defense, map number 2. T1.
Bind.
Bind, side on Bind.
Defense.
Defense. Okay, next set of bans starting with FPX. You have Ascent, Haven, and Pearl.
We ban Pearl.
We ban Pearl. So your ban, you have Ascent and Haven.
Ban Haven.
Ban Haven. Map number 3 will be Ascent, FPX, side on Ascent.
On attack.
Attack? Okay, gonna run through this, make sure we're all set. First set of bans, we have FPX with Fracture, T1 with Split. Map number 1 is Lotus with T1 on defense. Map number 2 is Bind with FPX on defense. Next set of bans are Pearl and Haven. Decider map 3 is Ascent with FPS on attack. Good? All right, good luck to you both.
FPX. T1.
Both teams had a slow start in the very first round, but this is where they will have no choice but to step it up because elimination is on the line here. I'm glad to see the chain on the side of T1, but did I just spot a little sticker on the side of FPX? I think they were rocking the boast above. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be really exciting about this best of 3 based on the map pool we're seeing. We're starting off here on Lotus, where FPX has been known to run the Harbor Viper Gecko.
What's better than Harbor Viper? The Gecko throwing in there as well?
Yeah, throwing the Gecko in really makes things a little bit spicy.
Personally, not a fan of the Gecko, I'm not going to lie. I like the Sky, but they're cooking up their interesting comps and they're making it work. And also, starting attack for this best of 3, I think is important for them.
Yes.
Get to dictate the pace. Their IGL has been wonderful at slowing it down, so I feel like he's going to be able to kind of eat them up when the pressure comes alive, because T1 looks like they tend to crumble sometimes when the pressure gets high.
That's the big thing about Lotus, right? Especially running the Harbor Viper Gecko is they're going to be able to get mound control and potentially pivot back to A, right? Those mid-round calls are really going to play a factor here on the opening map, and all of those differences with the in-game leaders that you were mentioning are going to come into play on a map like Lotus, where rotations can be abused and mid-round calls are essential to winning this map.
I mean, this is the other thing we saw from the first map as well. Some teams, it seems like they're struggling against the Viper Harbor, but both teams have experience with it, so surely we're not going to see anything like we saw from Liquid.
Not anything too new, but one thing about the Gecko that you should keep your eye on is how aggressive are they throwing their dizzies. If it's like an aggressive dizzy for map control, you're going to see most likely a lot of players behind it and try to recollect it, right? The whole recollect system. But other times you're going to see passive dizzies, and that's often going to mean that they're working towards the other side, but they want to see like what's going on. So that's something to keep your eye on. That's like the only variance, I would say, just because we've seen so much Fade, we've seen so much Sky, but now you're going to see a Gecko. So look out for the dizzy and where he's placing it. It's very important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's going to let you know where the side hits are happening, and also watch out for the C hits in particular with the dizzy and the wingman. It's just a really strong site to throw dizzy up in the air to while you have your duelist entering in. The Harbor walls block off everything, and the Viper is just constantly harassing the A site. So if we see that,
well, let's
we
take
do indeed
a
get
look
that.
here at the Prime Gaming agent select. The Harbor Viper Gecko is going to come out the side of FPX, but for T1, what do you make of this?
I like it. I like it. This is the comp we're seeing around Americas a lot. A little bit different than the Fnatic running the Omen instead of the Astra. The Omen lets play a little bit more aggressive on long A, maybe TP up to Rubble. But there's so many options with the Raze Fade. I know that you love that comp as well, right, Ellen?
I'm just really shocked here because T1, they haven't changed a single comp this entire year.
Yeah.
The entire time they stuck to the same thing over and over again. Why this change? Why do you think?
He's run them both, I think.
I've ran both the Harbor and the Omen. I think the differences are actually quite big. The Omen, you're going to be allowed to kind of take map control at a slower pace, but then kind of explode with the flash. The Harbor gets you so much map control for free. The cascade at Mound, the cascade out A, and even the high tide hits all 3 choke points of B. You have so many options in that comp. It's actually phenomenal to watch. I think T1, they're going to have to kind of slow it down and thrive in the chaos, because you're playing against the Harbor Viper and the Gecko. Slow it down and see if you can thrive in the chaos.
Oh, I want the chaos. I cannot wait. Everybody get ready to be entertained here. We got some cool comps, we got a great map, and 2 great casters as well to take us through map 1. Over to you, Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Yinsu. Yes, we're ready to kick this matchup off. Tom, I'm excited for this. We know there's some crazy comps around the corner as this series progresses. We already have some interesting stuff here on Lotus.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much Gecko on this map that has made me really excited, because a lot of the time you're sending little bro in and he doesn't make it. That's all I'm going to say. That seems to happen quite often on this map, so I'm definitely going to be interested to see if FPX have that one down to a T. If they can get everything working in synergy, this comp could be incredible. If it's off by a little bit, I think they're in trouble, but hey, it's going to be exciting nonetheless.
It absolutely is. Well, we're getting into the game. As you can see, T1 versus FPX. T1's defense being tested. The barriers are already up and the aggression coming out. Utility throw, putting pressure on these FPX members. Caught behind the box. They'll try to use their wave to get on out of there. Munchkin's picked up 2 in the meantime and still fighting while his teammates come to support. And that fight is quick and clean for the side of T1.
Oh, what an incredible start. They had a game plan from the very beginning, an instant seize nade, something we love to see when there's a Fade and a Raze on the server. No, we're not calling it that. And yeah, just being able to push them back. They almost had to retreat immediately, but that wasn't just the only part of the plan. They were continuing running it down, putting that pressure onto FPX immediately. And wow, what a start for T1. Pistol on the board, Munchkin off to a flyer. And now we're just going to see, well, I was going to say an investment. Nichao just going to go with light shields. Interesting. It's not an investment you see very often, just light shields and nothing else. But I'm curious, I'll put it that way. I guess if they get a gun, it's being given to him.
Well, I suppose that's the assumption. Yeah, 25 extra health. Ooh.
Don't worry, Sean will explain this to us when we get back to the desk at the halftime. It's fine.
I see him writing notes right now, scribbling frantically. He might even have a telestrator segment on it. Well, let's see if the success will be found by FPX with this trendy investment. Immediately, you know, they're putting some pressure towards A. They've got their wall there, but T1 know what's going on. They're up close, both on A and on C. You definitely get a sense that this squad likes to get aggressive. The pistol round, I guess, gave it away more than anything. In the end, conventional takeover B. Alarmbot takes contact. Actually, not even. Preemptive strike. And that's got Berlin.
Oh yeah, this is looking like a slaughter already. Linestor being able to find one somehow. They managed to make this one look a little bit more competitive. They should be able to clear things out. Ban left low and a chance to maybe do some extra damage. The Boombot chasing him at the end. AJ, he's just doing it for entertainment value. Never really in any doubt.
Didn't break a sweat whatsoever. Well, look, decent damage, all things considered. FPX get out of that one smelling the roses. T1 don't have the opportunity to play a nice free round where they've got rifles and the ability to fight. That was so close, can you imagine? And that would have taken a Bulldog out. That would have actually been huge. And look at T1's investment. You know, they've got their 2 Bulldogs still, picked up a Vandal on side player, and everyone else taking it pretty light. So there's weaknesses here for FPX to exploit. See if they can reap the rewards, the seeds they planted just moments ago.
Yuiko already waiting up top. We're going to try and find a little bit of early aggression. They were wary of it. Like in the prior round, we saw in the pistol how aggressive T1 were willing to be, and that's something that FPX are definitely going to have to think about. For now, though, just patiently taking map control. They have a lot of utility to be able to play with off the back of the harbor to sort of section off portions of the map, and for the defenders, Van has taken a little bit of map control, so they've been able to gamble that little bit more, even pushing up on B as well. They have taken a lot of space. They kind of know at this stage that they almost have to be locked in towards that C side of the map, but they are going to start wrapping back around and pressuring elsewhere.
Yeah, I do wonder if they've spotted, you know, you hear that turret when you get a little bit closer, Snakebite comes down. Now you know, first of all, it's a trap play with 2 incredibly good sight defenders. FPX are making the right call, looking elsewhere, and it's Saiyan player to be dropped first. That's the big rifle out of the round now for T1. Look back to the Bulldogs on Munchkin, who's already taken a lot of damage. Carpe pushed out of the site, and B is most certainly taken late lurk from Nichao as well. Great potential for this squad, and because it's the wingman planting, when they go through to try and take advantage of the numbers, well, anything but ends up occurring. That's FPX with the first.
Oh, really clean take into the site as well. I'm liking how patient they're being, because we sort of set this team up as this like hyper-aggressive, fast-paced. I mean, when we get to bind, that's kind of what I'm expecting, but this was very calm and controlled. They had expectations that their opponent were going to try and take map control against them. They were very methodical to sort of take that space back and end up keeping 4 players alive onto the board. Of course, for the other side of things in T1, they are going to have themselves an investment here. Plenty of rifles on the board, but no ultimates online just yet. Everything fairly level across the board.
Yeah, this will be a much more grounded full buy round. The real meat of the game about to come into play. Now, we've seen T1's aggression time and time again. Over on C and A in that second round, even up against the Pistols, they were willing to do it. It's denied by some early utility, and the follow-up. It seems FPX will be gaining control over Mound for now, but they're leaving their options open. A lurk around B, player as well sat on A, waiting for the aggression to come through, and even an Alarmbot if they decide to rotate. Plenty of options for them in the late round.
Again, just taking their time, collecting those orbs that are about to be under some pressure. The Mosh used to try and clear out some space. Normally there's a bit of an execution off the back of it though. Turret destroyed for Sire as he looks to get aggressive, but again, just waiting outside this C site. The high tide through to block off a lot of angles, but there's 3 players ready and waiting.
Oh, nice sees. It's gone through and it's caught some players. They're able to sneak up behind the walls, and Carpe and Munchkin both falling. Puts a lot of pressure on Zeta to deliver, and he's out. Giving up the site and playing for the retake. It's definitely the smart call. They'd love to grab a pick along the way, but that one cost them so much more as they crumble on this C site. FPX take control.
Yeah, again, like the aggression of T1 just not really finding anything. They're constantly hunting and looking for that early information, but other than destroying the turret, it basically just comes down to the late round execution, and that's actually where FPX have been fantastic so far. Berlin, Lysor getting those initial entries, and then Aya, well, we've already highlighted him. His performance in their prior match versus EG made the game even look remotely competitive, which was not something we expected in their opening game. Now though, leveling things up, weaponry somewhat of a minimum, and okay, you do have yourself a lockdown on the side of Munchkin, but unless they get into a very good position, I have no expectation of him using this.
Yeah, not in a round like this, although considering the damage FPX were able to do with classics in hand just moments ago, you have to wonder. And we haven't really seen FPX use Nichao's wall to get control over A. Constantly, T1 have been getting aggressive and holding these tighter corners, keeping them back, and even back from where they are now, stuck inside the choke point. So good ground being claimed here, and they're certainly finding the lighter side of the map where T1 are not really defending it as steadfast. That wall should be easy to bypass. Zeta doesn't have a ton of utility, really. We're looking at Carpe. He's found the information at least, but following up on it's going to be a different story altogether.
Yeah, Reckoning is going to make it so there's very little they can do in terms of holding. Little Bro just about going to be able to get the spike plant in. Snakebite used to try and deter. How dare they, for starters, but more so, it's not actually going to work out, and they have used the lockdown. I am surprised by this. Trying to force them back, maybe expecting to get a little bit more in this round than we did, but it's so passive anyway from their opponents, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Well, they've at least got that orb up. I mean, they're blocking off the sidelines for sure, trying to section off UCall, but he is taking them all out. What a clean response from the side of FPX. It was pistols they were up against, and the main question in a round like this is how much damage can T1 do, and the answer was absolutely none.
No, that was peculiar, especially on the site they were on, which is A, where you can have these very passive positions to actually play in the afterplant. Like, okay, maybe you're able to cause some havoc, but a lot of the time, most teams are just like wallbang spamming onto the plant anyway, and they had all their nanos and stuff down as well. I don't really see a world where they were ever going to get that one close, and even if they did, there was an ult in the form of Thrash, which would have denied them anyway.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. Look at this entry right away. Showstopper used, and he's almost paid a hefty price for that control. And, you know, there was no one here. They were playing the retake around B. Now it's time to retake. Showstopper through. No one found. Halfway already, but the blast pack will get him up close. The shot is good. Berlin down, and Aya left on 15 HP. He'll be cleaned up quickly, you'd imagine. Has to be the last man standing, denying that defuse, and not a hope in hell. Right back on the board, our T1.
A little bit of a change of pace from the side of FPX, but it seems like T1 were more than ready for it.
Definitely locked in. Locked and loaded on that one. I like the more direct approach. When you come in with ultis like that, sometimes it's worth just committing them at the start of the round from the side of FPX. Get the control, maybe pick up a kill, and then play your post plans. But T1 seemed more than ready for that.
Maybe that's why they used Munchkin's in the last round. He's already got 5 of the orbs back.
All part of the game plan.
Not a bad one. You can just throw the ult in if he's going to be multi-fragging. Not something... That's the thing. You look at the rounds they've won so far, like the pistol, him getting a 3K, again, managing to do it in the last round. It's something you do worry if the rest of the team doesn't sort of step up alongside him. If they can keep that going forward, and no surprise to see back to the slow pace for FPX, but you look at T1. Already fully pushed in through C. Now the Boombot, in theory, should give that one away, as they've taken such a ridiculous amount of control, and Lysor is already waiting. the turret with contact should mean that he immediately turns around, and so does the rest of the team.
Maybe even tucks into that corner. Oh, there's the smoke up. He knows now. Great position. They're clearing it, but the first player down. Now they can react. Ban on the trade. The rotation seeming to come through from Munchkin. Gonna leave Ban to make this play by himself. Zeta shutting down too. That is absolutely huge. The FPX have stopped completely, and the flank is now coming through. Desperation from Aya as he looks to bring the spike elsewhere and hopefully grab a plant. I don't know how much that's going to help them.
Putting this into a 2v4, but on the B site, a spot that's very difficult to hold from. A little bit of a dicey fight, but it is going to be Ban to win it. And now Aya left. I don't think he even knows that Munchkin's about to come around this corner. The drop down spotted, but Munchkin just playing this so safe. He actually goes peek it back out, though, a chance, but not this time. A great round from Zeta as T1 will convert back into the lead once again. And I'm liking their style of play. Like, normally you see this sort of level of aggression against a team that doesn't have like a lurker or a sentinel. They're doing it against the Killjoy, who's literally waiting for them. But just being able to take away such map control while the rest of FPX is grouping up, I almost assume that they're going to have to go for more of a default round this time out, just to make sure they can't continue to do that.
Now, one of the difficulties being now T1 having Zeta pop off like that in the previous round. Viper's Pit locked in, ready to go. That could certainly help them recover from any sort of stumbles they have as the round goes on. FPX calling a timeout. They want to take a moment to gather their thoughts ahead of round number 8. We're coming towards the end of this half. And we're pretty close to neck and neck. Pistol round injection for T1. You know, it's definitely not the doom and gloom for this attacking side. An opportunity to bounce back when they move to their defense as well. Operator in play. That's one thing I'm seeing. We might just get Yuka changing the game completely on this attacking side. That scope weapon, it can turn the tides, but Saya players doing just the same. We're gonna have a battle on our hands.
Yeah, a bit of a change in what we've seen so far, but I understand it from the side of FPX especially. Like, your opponent has literally been running it down C every single round. You want to try and deny them that space, make sure that they're not being able to push that far. But I also like the adaptation on the other side from Saya, which is just going to be, okay, they're probably not expecting me to have an operator now after what we've been doing. So a real chance for an early firefight. You'd expect
it's gonna be here.
There to be some sort of utility, though, on the other side.
Well, they've got a lot, right? Look at FPX attacking. You're expecting Gecko pop up that flash, but hold on, there's the up right away! And Yuka's able to win that battle. We hyped it up, him against Saya player, both picking up the operator, but Ban has recovered it from his teammate's corpse. Found the pick. They still have Munchkin up close, so Ban can't afford to back off. He has to stay here, at least for now, unless they decide to give up the position, which does seem to be the call. Whoops, Munchkin got caught on the wall, but he's made it out. Now they're looking to bolster down at least their B defense for the time being. A shift to the right side of the map is the correct call for T1, because that's where FPX are going.
Just taking, again, that slower approach. These are the rounds where FPX have been able to really get themselves their attack rounds onto the board. Of course, fairly high expectation for the attack to be heavier sided, so for T1 to be off to a strong start is a great position to be in. Again, Viper's Pit actually going to be thrown out as they look to late take into the B side. Ban, I don't think he's going to be able to get much from here with the operator, and it's going to have to be that full-on retake once again.
Yuka's gone hunting as well. Just look at his position, propped up on the boxes. That's a great angle that they're not expecting. And even as Ban tried to clear it, he couldn't quite get there on time. The op certainly being a saving grace for FPX so far. Nichao with a challenge, and it's just about corrected in time. Starting to get scary. That stun couldn't be better. Munchkin's out. Surely not going to commit to this with an operator at his feet. He hopes to save it to the next round, but the spike, although it's ticking fast, there's still some time if they wanted to hunt him down. Aya has popped a flash. That's being heard. Munchkin knows there's someone hunting him, someone coming through the spawn. He could hightail it out of here, move towards the attacker spawn even, but well, he's hunkering down. It looks like they've given up, not wanting to lose any more weapons.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite interesting, because you look at the way this round actually played out, and I feel like T1 almost they tried to set a trap on A, pushed them into the B site, and then didn't have anybody there on the B site to actually catch them. It was a bit of a weird round. Like you set up almost in that scenario. If you have 2 on A, I'd want one of the A site players to rotate away as you put that pit down. So then you have a little bit more bolstering on the B side, whereas FPX just very quick on their mid-round calls. I think Berlin sees that P, he's like, all right, I'm out of there. I'm going straight back in, and that's the thing that really works out on a map like Lotus, is just having those sort of quick, concise calls to get themselves back into position. FPX leveling up once more, and a bit more aggression. That's not gone well. Nichao with a free opener, looking for more. Ban somewhat caught him no man's land, but the paranoia, well, it not only gets him, I was going to say it could have got him out of there, but he doesn't leave. In fact, his opponents completely fall off, and he still holds onto the angle.
Yeah, he actually held the angle while setting up that smoke the whole time, just making sure no one snuck out. This is a man confident in holding this spot. We've seen T1 consistently get aggressive around this position, and it's something most teams will do. You always want to compete for rubble. But Ban is taking it to another level, still being here this late into the round. And FPX do intend to take it towards him. Flash is back online for Aya. Have some cascading utility to make their way out. And all that util's falling on nothing, because Ban fell back. A great sense of when to give up the control. The question is, will a rotate come in on time? Ban could be under a lot of pressure.
And just using the one-way smoke to try and deter players from going back into this A site through the double doors. Zeta realizing he has to try and help out his teammate a little bit, but the Cove is almost going to lock him out completely. And Aya with a solid entry. No chance for Zeta to make a play. You look at the remainder, well, almost just diving in for risky plays on the side of T1, and FPX are more than prepared, just waiting for players to make a mistake. Sire's going to get himself an exit frag at this stage, but well, I don't see him going for this 1v3.
I love FPX's ideas late into the round. Like, we've seen these adaptations before, but pumping the brakes, going for some control over A main, and then they acknowledge where both those players are. They're able to isolate the fights. And you saw from both Zeta and Ban just overwhelmed as they peeked out into heavy traffic, 3 targets each. It wasn't easy to clean up. They have managed to carry forward this operator to the next round. Much more passive post-plant from FPX, not trying to hunt down again. But it doesn't matter to them by the looks of it. They've allowed the op to be saved a couple of times, and they're avoiding it pretty much every time.
Yeah, and one of the things I think is worth highlighting in this matchup, I think Sire player is always a huge call-out because of how good he normally plays in a lot of these matches. But someone you sort of almost highlight on the other side is Yuiko maybe not being such an explosive duelist. So the fact that he seems to be performing to a fantastic standard off the start. Now going to see if he can keep this up throughout the match. Operator going to be handed over to Berlin. Maybe the expectation there is that Yuiko is going to be taking that entry point. And on the side of T1, they've actually stacked into this A side. Bear in mind, weaponry is weak. They've got that operator, and elsewhere just having pistols. We'll see if they can make something work.
T1 have a lot of players here. FPX have gone a couple times back in towards B. That might be the right call. No way for them to know that right now. They have a lurker outside of B as well, but just look at that. You can see Lysor pulling back, moving towards this A play. They're going to go into the stack. T1 primed and ready for this play. They haven't got the ultis to back it up, but over on FPX, they most certainly do. Thrash on his way, destroyed out in the open immediately. Zeta's position given up. They still want to commit to it, but this is where the pistols can be most dangerous already. Yuko is going to be taken down. So too is Wingman, but a good trade as Aya at least keeps this alive on their squad. Nice and comfortable with the plant coming through. And it's a 2 versus 4 that really doesn't look to be going anywhere.
Yeah, just farming up some of those eco frags for Aya in the end. I do like the fact that they're using that Reckoning basically in low purchase rounds for their opponents. It severely reduces the risk. Like, even if you know you're walking into a somewhat stacked site, those players are going to be ducking and weaving, and with the Sheriffs, this not going to be the best way that you're going to be playing the game. So just having that easy around, making sure you can convert cleanly. And you look at the finances over on FPX, they are thriving as of right now. And for Sire player, I'll be honest, he's been out of the game. I haven't seen anything really from him at the moment. It's just holding onto that operator. Jane time coming through once again for him, as he just hasn't really seen any action so far in this half.
Sixth round locked in for the side of FPX, and this attacking side, like we were saying, you know, at 4-3, T1 had got that pistol round to give them an injection of rounds. They stumbled a little bit afterwards, as is expected. Round 3, the 4th being a close competition, the 5th being a walkover. But then it was a little bit of a resurgence, and you start to feel like we've got a close game on our hands. But this pause coming out of T1 very much signifies the fact that we have ended up spiraling slightly on their side. It's gotten out of control. They're losing their grip on a close half. And there's only 2 rounds left to compete for, hoping to end it neck and neck. This time out, we'll see how much it's going to do for them.
Yeah, of course, the scary thing for T1 as well is, as said, the bind they're probably going to be coming up against will be incredibly unorthodox. Last time it was the solo controller, double initiator, double duelist comp that was being run. The time before that, they swapped out a Brimmy and put in a Harbor. There's some very weird stuff coming through on bind, and definitely not the easiest stuff to play up against. Here as well, I don't think you're going to be necessarily used to this combination of the Viper, Harbor, and then, of course, having Little Bro running in every single time. It makes things that a little bit more difficult, and I think they have been finding it tough to sort of find the space. The only rounds that have really been working for T1 is aggression, like taking that map control away, fighting them in the early stages of the round, because the actual executes from FPX have been fantastic.
Yeah, that's been the real issue. Like, we've seen T1 those first 3 rounds so aggressive, and even with bans sticking around on Rubble for so long, in one of the previous rounds we saw, it's still tapered off slightly. That control is being given to FPX a lot of the time. Now just look at C, a lot of players from T1 here, and the same thing can be said for FPX. There'll be some fake posturing on this A site, and we'll see what the response is. If you're T1, you're seeing this wall come up, you're assuming there's control over Rubble now for FPX and that they're getting nice and aggressive. With 3 players on C and no contact seen, you do have to rotate eventually. But this is all a bait. Zeta up close. Even have the turret there. They shouldn't expect ban, and the flash has not caught him. This could be huge. The smoke saving his bacon. If they come around this corner, it's very unlikely they decide to check this spot, especially with Zeta popping off, making noise. Ooh. Although he has just started to fall back.
Yeah, the patience might just be rewarded. It almost comes down to how much can they get, and that Dizzy's going to be going through again, this time forced to retreat. So the same as before, like FPX are being methodical in their play. Man sent through as well just to clear any of the close corners, and they're just doing this almost for orb control. Faking out the space. 4 players currently on this side of the map, and the one on the other side, Carpe, has just been decimated by the operator. Now they start hightailing it back towards the A site. The decision's still yet to be made. FPX leaving this one very late and deep, but if they get into a post plant with that Viper's Pit, it's trouble for T1.
There was 20 seconds on the clock, and they still haven't made their way towards the site, but finally that decision is made. They've baited out the rotates to be controlled this game entirely so far. Like, this round has been theirs
used on A.
all over. And yeah, they're only realizing now that this is a problem after they burned up their lockdown. FPX are set up with a Viper's Pit with players inside with utility at plenty. Even the snake bite online for Nichao late round, and okay.
Nice shot.
Yuka is going to be caught. That's a big pick. Aya, if he overextends there, that angle's being watched, but he'll catch more than enough. 2 quick kills. Berlin following up, even saving an operator for himself. You can start to think this round is over. T1 looking for a save.
Nah, the calling again from FPX has just been sublime. The amount of times they have walked into this B site and there has been no one there, just off some fake execution being thrown in towards A. They get the opener, and then every single time you just basically see the Gecko utility just flying through in onto that A site. And even so much so that in the last few seconds of the round, you watch T1 putting a lockdown in on the A site because they've been fooled to such a high degree, and then they get a free post plant. Nobody on the B site, not a single player aware that they could be setting up on this side of the map, and they haven't even come close in the retakes, even using the slight gaps in their own ultimates to just decimate T1. FPX right now, I'll be honest, they look like they're a level above.
They absolutely do. Again, the way they're controlling these early rounds is fantastic. Baiting out the C rotations. There were 3 players there, ended up with 1. They still flash it to clear. They move back towards A, sell an A fake perfectly, finish on B that's wide open. There's been next to nothing that T1 could do. They've been trying in the early round, but it's like FPX are reading from the same strat book so far. As we move on in to round number 12, the final one, T1's aggression is going to be displayed yet again on this defensive side. Pushed up on A, 3 players on Rubble. They won't give up this control this round, but where do they go from here? They've spotted there's a player behind that wall. They know that. But Nichao is patient, allowing them to make a move while his teammates work out the rest of the map.
I like the change from Team Paranoia. Going to play that a little bit more aggressive. The Paranoia is going to do the work, but it's whether or not the rest of the team are going to start making a play on the other side of the map and how much time can actually be bought. Thrash sent through is going to garner them an extra little bit of information, and it's only going to be the 1-for-1 trade. Nichao gone, but again, it's the same. They sell a ruse. The only problem, though, is the spike. The spike's facing back into the spawn. 28 seconds left is dropped on the deck. A mistake made by the side of FPX. They have to go back and retrieve this. And in the meantime, T1 can start re-aggressing. A 1-for-1 trade, 15 seconds. They have to go running into this B site, but they're going to use that showstopper. That will grant them the space that they need to get into this plant.
It's something. Operator as well. This could be beautiful for FPX to still manage, even after those fumbles earlier on in the round, to close this out. An 8-4 scoreline would be huge. The timing is key, and Munchkin's won it, leaving just Berlin all alone. He'll use his waves to try and block off their sight lines, but they'll be through that in just a moment's time. Low HP on one, but neither will fall. Saya player with his 3rd of the round, locking in 5 for T1. Considering how this ended up, I think FPX looked likely to take that to 8-4. T1 can be happy with 5 rounds.
Yeah, I think it's purely just the mistake from Aya, like maybe not realizing that they'd given up that much control. If he goes through the doors, they get that plant free. It's a lot easier, but it definitely wasn't good signs in this half for T1. They managed to get things to a respectable scoreline that they can take into the second half, but I think FPX were definitely the better of the 2 teams in the first.
I think that's fair to say. An absolute joy to watch this FPX squad work on their attacking side, but now it's T1 who are going to be mounting the attack. FPX on their defense, and we'll see how they feel about their possibilities. Let's hear from Yuko, who we spoke to earlier.
就以打EG 这场而言，我觉得EG 队员所说的是事实，我们确实不被大众看好。然后他们说的那些话，我自己是有听进去，但是我觉得我们有机会可以赢过他们，因为我们上次已经在巴西打过一次像这样的国际赛事，然后因为那次我觉得我自己是比较紧张的，但这次来到这个全球冠军赛的话，我觉得没有那么紧张了，而且我们有2条命，所以我不怕失败。
He's brought it down into a 1v1, and Com playing into main. Ayang still, he spotted him surely, just the edge of the gun, edge of the weaponry. Oh, nails the shot.
我认为 T1 的风格可能也是偏激进，或者是又有一点偏稳健吧。然后我觉得面对他们的话，因为训练赛老实说有输有赢，但是我觉得在大赛的上面的话，我觉得大家都是一样的，所以就看当天的发挥，或者是当天谁状态比较好。对，我觉得还是一样学习为主。然后野心的话，我自己是希望，因为我们现在吊着败者组，所以我希望我们可以一直打到出线。我觉得打 T1 这场球，无论输赢的话，我希望大家可以记住我的名字，然后我也可以有非常好的表现。
Well, we've heard from FPX how much this elimination match can mean to them. Looking at T1 across the stage with an advantage in their back pocket, FPX have to be feeling good on this international stage. Now, the pistol round could really shoot them up into the lead.
Well, that's the thing. They lost the pistol in that last half and still managed to come out with the victory. And they probably should have made it even more dominant as well. So they're definitely in a good position for this one, but we'll see if they can take the second pistol. Great start for Berlin. Look at the damage that's already been done as well. Players tagged behind as they look to enter the site. It is a slaughter! Lysor puts the entirety of that execution down, and now Zeta looking to try and get the ace. Little bro gonna be helping out as Lysor ends with the 4K. Big pistol round out from FPX. The 8th round they probably deserved.
Yeah, they were looking forward to close out the previous, but now that probably carries even more weight rather than just a number on the board. Instead, they get to follow up round 2 up against what should be next to nothing. Just look at that. Made it look like a fully automatic weapon. 4 kills for Lysor, and well, fair to say you're gonna have a lockdown online in the near future.
Yeah, we saw the same from Munchkin in the last half, and maybe didn't have the impact they would have liked. Decent investment from him as well. Lysor going to go for the rifle in this one, just wanting to make sure there's no real risk of damage being done. Looking like more of the same potentially for the side of T1, but it could just be a goal of farming up some early orbs. You're also seeing the High Tide used very deep on the seaside, almost just to shroud out information. Almost make it more awkward for T1 to really find anything. And as expected, a very passive hold coming out from FPX. They don't really want to take any risks in this round, put any map pressure onto their opponents, and to play through the door. Uicore is going to have to fall back a little bit here. Just play passive while the orbs are farmed up.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all these positions that FPX are occupying, there's nowhere that they can really be isolated, that T1 can force a 1 versus 1 fight or an XV1 fight without them being able to take that pot shot and then fall right back afterwards. That smoke might complicate things slightly, but T1 are not going towards C, hoping that the utility they put down and the presence made will cause a bit of a panic, a bit of an over-rotation. That has not happened. Nichao, the first sign that this defense is still standing strong on the A site, but he'll fall. Nade is good, forcing Lysor to the back site. Not a great position if those pistols get up close. They're going for the wide shots though, and that is perfect for Lysor. 2 kills, plan to come through. Players here, but denying that's hard. Through the box, instead, gonna try to just keep that planter stuck in there. Van used his teleport to get out of there, but they've spotted him. They know exactly where he is with a bulldog in hand. Nice shot. The first bound, dodging the nade now. Paranoia's given him some space. He's walked out, but they've got 2 different angles. Nicely closed out by FPX. Costly, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's an expensive round, no doubt, but they'll manage to retrieve the rifle. They're going to find themselves the bulldog as well, so it's not the most loss, but definitely a little bit more expensive than they probably would have liked. And now with their opponents going to be coming back in with a buy, this is really where you need to see T1 actually stepping up to the plate if they are going to be competitive within this map. At least as of right now, FPX have been firmly within the driver's seat. And I think even maybe considering going for a bit of a heavier investment into this round, trying to break them a little bit earlier.
Well, Tom, certainly feels like the stadium here has a favorite for this round.
Yeah.
FPX chance in full force, but you look at what they've got to work with. There's some weaknesses there. It's an uphill battle for this defensive side. Although not necessarily a round that I would chalk up to just damage. They definitely have the potential to fight for this. 2 bulldogs, a rifle on Lysor, 1 away from having their lockdown online as well. But for T1, they're the squad that get a little bit of easier access onto these orbs. Pretty close to a showstopper on Saya player, but probably want to just leverage their weaponry advantage in this round.
Bring them down.
How passive they are on B.
It's looking like a full B retake. Just expecting there to be pressure put elsewhere.
Is that to do with the lockdown, maybe?
Being taken. Potentially. They don't have it online just yet, but maybe expecting to get a kill on the way. Definitely one of the easiest sites to retake. Nice shot, though, by Munchkin and Saya. Solid start to this round. Nade to deny any further aggression, and the A site completely under their control, managing to avoid any of that initial aggression. And similarly to their opponents, just baiting in those initial takes and then forcing rotations from FPX.
Yeah, the sad thing being, you've lost your rifle, your real rifle here. You can see the Bulldogs coming through for a retake. But now, the question does turn to damage. How much?
How many did they get, Mitch? Go on, call it.
I'm going to say 3. Although, I'm looking at T1, very nicely grouped up. Looks like they'll be able to trade almost any kill. There's no one out of position. And,
3's optimistic.
I think that might have been Carpe's second kill of the game so far. That was incredibly crispy. Followed through. A Yukon falling. And, okay, a bit of panic here. Oh, the showstopper. That's huge. Honestly, you're going to trade a Cove for a showstopper? I'll certainly take that.
that was very panicky, and well, they do get one. Ban dies to the spike. Like it's a bit of a
Carpe tripled his kills, yeah.
A bit of a shaky finish to what was a good round from T1, I'd say. But I guess for them, I'm not wanting any spice to come through, anything crazy for FPX, but they're now going to come into this round, rifles across the board, lockdown in play as well. It's also possible that was a fat finger, but I'm not really sure.
I think it's more likely it was just sheer panic. Like, they could be defusing. How far is it diffused already? Is he sticking it inside that cove? And then you're going to swing one by one. Maybe he kills you all. It's just easier to throw that away, especially when you've got other ultis coming online.
This is a bit of a pace
near
change.
future. Yeah, very quick indeed. Saya players already taken down Nichao, and the reinforcements will be late to A. Way too late, in fact, because with Lysor down, that plant is uncontested.
Yeah, well, with Sire on the defensive side, you have the ability to avoid him. That was one of the things that happened a lot in that first half. He was sat there saving an operator, but not this time. Double entry. Good to see him starting to step up to the plate, and unfortunately for FPX, it almost looks like it has to just be the save. The instantaneous start to this round. It was mentioned in the video with Yuko that like they expect this sort of mix of explosiveness out from T1. I think this is exactly what he's talking about. Just a complete change of pace to what we've seen so far, and already getting themselves within arm's reach of their opponents. The fact is, though, financially, T1 in a spot where they can afford to lose a couple of weapons if they really wanted to. Maybe try and hunt down some of these players, but they're not risking it. Not taking any damage at all, really, throughout this round. And, well, 8 players are going to be alive at the end of it.
I don't mind when we see such a passive call, especially when they have been so split. That A hold, very similar to the round before it, where once those 2 players go down, your chances just dive. The difference being, if you have weaponry actually invested.
Oh, you got full-on FPX bandana. I'm jealous.
Oh yeah, the crowd is packed out. FPX fans here in force to support their squad, and well, the squad certainly needs it. This is their timeout. Rest assured, they can hear the crowd. They can feel the rumbles at times when they pipe up. Are you having fun yet? I see.
But yeah, 9-7. Not the worst spot for FPX. They're going to take the pause early, give the chance to Nathan to have a little chat with the team, see what he can pull out of the bag. The problem is, financially, again, they're not in the greatest of spots to do too much, but it might just mean that they decide to get that little bit more aggressive, try and take some of that space away. If we've seen from both teams, one of the things they're majorly sort of struggling with is that passive hold that's coming through from the attack, not really allowing them to get the same level of control that they would want to. A lot of the time, Killjoy utility just being placed to deny any of that further aggression. For now, though, an early build-up of players in towards that B site, but it does seem like much more of the same. Just going to be some minute investment on the players that didn't have anything to go with it. That's the thing. If they can get something done with these rifles, they still have that lockdown available to them if they want to try and go for the retake.
Yeah, the potential is there for late round, and I think so far FPX have been put in those positions of having to retake. T1's aggression being rewarded time and time again. And this time, it's Yuka alongside Aya who are going to be challenged, both on the C side. T1 have they do have a bit of control going out there for Zeta. Like, he is swinging around. Rubble, he's got his wall to play around as well. And if he gets enough space, they might start to think about coming back. Even the door opened here, like, there's a ton of presence being feigned. And I don't think they're rotating back to A. I think they're just hiding from utility, knowing that there would be a flash online soon, knowing that FPX would seek them out. And because they've avoided all of that intel gathering utility, they might go for a swing like that, and they've almost lost UCOD to it. That was T1's trigger point. They're rushing the site. And it looks like all control will be theirs, even catching Aya on the way back.
Yeah, another Sire player entry, and I believe at least the rifle might be able to be handed over to a teammate, but look at him go. Sire player just dying to take over. UiCore, just come out of nowhere. The side swipe, not expected. The aggressive position, it's these Razors going head to head to try and take over this round. The time, not even that far gone, still an opportunity for him to win this one out. Still going strong, leaving it all on to Zeta. He's playing that post plant, knows exactly where he is. The ace potential, but it's so far back, and Zeta's still just sitting, but he's not landing the shots. It's already being diffused. Just look at it, try and get it all the way, but Zeta will hold on. T1 scraped through the round, but FPX was so damn close with UiCore.
Only that he was caught with a knife out. That would have been a different result. So close in the end as well.
Yeah.
Fair play to Nichao for just sticking it underneath.
That's the thing, a Red Bull clutch needed just to get through a round where you already got the entries. Like, you look at that and you go, oh, Sire's got a couple of openers, he's taken over, and then just everybody dies within a matter of seconds. Yeah, that was everyone right there. Everybody's face was the same when he manages to get that quad kill, but luckily, Zeta holds on. And now we have the buy, that's the thing. UiCore is not going to have the rifle anymore because he's got the operator instead. And look at where he is already, by the way. First 20 seconds of the round, UiCore has already pushed all the way up on C.
Holding that wide angle with an up. But he won't have a chance to use it, at least not on that side of the map. Presence for B, the split is on. Aya just about evading those shots. Falling back, but nobody's here to contest. Yet again, a free plant to be found by T1. So good at finding that space. And the Viper's Pit used to lock it down afterwards. Those shots were close, but Aya will not find it. So we're set up in a difficult position. This Killjoy ult is causing problems, but Zeta somehow picked up a double. What an absolute disaster. One player detained. Look at that repositioning as well. Carpe dodged the showstopper. Zeta's back online inside the Viper's Pit. A third kill for T1. Carpe following and Munchkin closing. What a gorgeous round from this attacking squad. FPX got to start to sweat now. It's neck and neck.
The heartbreaking thing with that double kill from Zeta is if they wait a few extra seconds for him to get detained, it's the freest kill of their lives. It's because they tried to start pushing in that little bit earlier, and because of that, I think he just basically just banked it onto them. It's so perfectly placed.
They have to stay there, right? Because otherwise the lockdown is going to be destroyed. And they actually try to fall back once they hear it coming, but it's too late. Oh, what a disaster.
Well, from the pistol round victory to get them through to 9 to a streak of rounds now for T1. Berlin's not going to be connecting the shots. In fact, it's a double for Ban. Munchkin with another. This round is already looking squeaky clean. Unless Nichao has something to say about it, and he does not. Last man standing, Aya with a couple of pieces of utility, but no weaponry.
No, has the classic. Doesn't even have the light shields with the classic.
Nah, Sean's going to be sad.
Shocked. Well, this one is going his way. All right, well, you know, maybe he should have had heavy shields.
Yeah.
It's a lot prettier right now. He's got the one kill. That should be where this ends. One away from Thrash as well, so ult is going to be online.
There's absolutely no way you're chunning ace.
Ace, 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 ace.
What? Okay. We're getting there.
Maybe we better start believing
three more to go. 3 more now. Okay.
Imagine. What a world that would be to live in. Still great damage, all things considered, and had the ulti online before he even went down.
5 rounds in a row, though, for T1. 4 ultimates online. Okay, the Viper's Pit's gone, but it was put to pretty good use. And on the other side of things, the Reckoning, Viper's Pit, Thrash, all strong ultimates building up to be a competitive round. But the fact is, T1, since the 9-5 scoreline, since the pistol and follow-up loss, they have looked unstoppable. Clutch plays, you name it, they've had it all. And for FPX, bear in mind, a big lead on their own map choice. Bind, I'm not confident in. They need to find something here.
Oh, wow. Okay, a lockdown's going to be used to take over control of C site. 4 players here, but just take a look at the position of Zeta, not lurking on A. Viper walls on C. This is going to be a much more direct round, one in which they don't intend to fall back, use secondary options. The plant is in, already found, and they're giving up all this space. Thrash won't be able to reach them. It can be recovered at least. Not in a great position, though, using it mostly for the information. That's not going to be back up and online. Showstopper used.
Oh, wow.
Now Saya. Well, we don't need to talk about that one. Bans picked up Yukon. Defuse being tapped. They're not sure. Someone could be on it right now. They need to swing and check. Maybe someone spotted it just around the edge of that wall. Saya, good for one. Lysor down. Nishao up close. Got his double, but they're trading it right back. And T1 will not let go of this round, keeping a tight grip all the way through. And now with a 2-round lead, they look set to close out Lotus.
Yeah, and the worst thing is as well is other than the Viper's Pit, FPX used absolutely everything in this round. The ults thrown through, the Reckoning was to try and force them back. I think even Thrash, they were maybe expecting somebody to still lurk around within the site, but didn't find anything. And I have to say, Zeta in these post-plant scenarios, unstoppable. I don't think he's faltered, gone down once. Yep. He won the 1v2, the double snake bite with a 3rd kill in there as well, and now having that in the late round. Leading by example, it has to be said. I believe it's been a switch up for this matchup for him to go back onto the Viper, and honestly, it's been an incredible choice.
Start of round, Viper's Pit, orb for A. Oh, look at those pings coming through. T1 thinking about still committing to the A side, but bypassing this utility, bypassing the pit.
But the thing is, there's not really that safe a spot to stand in the pit.
Yeah.
Like, you're either on the cross with your back, or you're right on the edge. Like, I feel like this is an incredibly dangerous pit to try and sit in, and huge reliance on Lysor to try and hold this one out. A lot of utility being put into delay, but they're not expecting that this is a full committal just yet.
They still have that Viper orb. If things do get a little bit scary, it's probably going to go up with the 40-second, 30-second mark once this wall goes down. There you go, it's up, but it's a little bit too late. They're already through, now the Viper having to fight, and Nishao is down. Viper's Pit out of the round, and FPX still massively behind after all of that has been taken out of their hands. They only get 1 kill for their trouble, very little damage, no control on the way back through. The one thing is, they did just hear that jump. Aya is fully aware that Munchkin is around that corner on his right, and he's going to seek him out, but his teammates are on the side already. So even though he gets that kill, there's just nothing to say about it. The 125 HP, sure, he's looking healthy, but there's 2 players lined up in a firing squad, and that'll put him to 0 seconds later. 12-9, 3 chances for T1 to close out this map. And Bind, as you said, Tom, their map pick is up next.
Yeah, and one that, again, they play quite a regimented composition. I believe that they actually use the Gecko themselves, and it looks pretty damn good on their execution, so I would definitely be worried if you're an FPX fan, but they still have chances. 3 rounds, but 7 in a row now.
That's the thing, Tom. They've just lost 7 in a row, so you look at it and go, 3 rounds, this is not too much, but they've got to turn this right around, and even the ones they have won on their defense, pistol and follow-up. That ain't repeatable. You ain't getting another one of those till the next map.
Well, do you remember when Saya was having a bad game? Or a quiet game, I should say.
Not even that long ago.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime now because he's been in a great spot. An aggressive, it's a dry peek out. Okay, they've cleared Munchkin at least. No utility to support it, but maybe that surprise factor, it at least locks down some of that control on one side of the map, something that T1 might have to think about going back for. And in fact, the second they take that fight, the defenders immediately rotate away, just saying, okay, they're not going to challenge for this again. Oh, guess what? They are.
Triple stack up on A. 45 seconds, no contact, but no one should be getting contact till they burst into the site. You stick with 3 players on A. And in fact, Yukon goes more passive. It's the right call. He would just get sectioned off and eliminated in a 1vx fight. Instead, he has to try to harass them on the way through and wait for his teammates to come in. They have a lot of utility for the way back in. That nade is going to go through. Zeta already gone. The nade's a little late, so it's not going to catch a kill, but that might have given them a chance.
Yeah, Zeta has been the post-plant king, so getting rid of him with a spam and him almost sacrificing himself to it is going to help them out massively. 4 players looking to try and go back through on that retake. Lysor doing well. In fact, no trades to be had is left on to Sire. He's been fantastic. But with that level of HP, it is not going to be happening. FPX make the retake work, and they will live to fight another day, finally breaking that chain.
That's the first time we've seen them with rifles in hand win around. It's nice to see. Maybe they finally found the solution, the push and pull on the map, working for them. More passive stance.
He walks into it spraying. Like, I like the confidence from Zeta, but that's mind-numbing. Like, it almost just gives him the free kill. And as said, he's been the one you want in post-plant.
Yeah.
He's been ridiculously good. So,
I mean, his utility belt alone does that, but then add him to it for sure. Big scalp to take.
Well, now just down to 2. Overtime still very much possible. And again, they're going for the same sort of setup they had in the last round. Now, bear in mind, T1, they're expecting a repeat. They have got a multitude of players waiting for this level of aggression, a tap onto the orb, and this is where they try and execute instead. They've actually thrown the nade, almost blocking off their own corner. Again, another blip for FPX, a mistake, and almost too easy an opener on the other side. They're going to try and actually push off the back of this. Sire player gets the kill with his nade instead of the gun. And now Berlin, this started off as a set play for the side of FPX. It's cut off his own angle. This is going horribly wrong.
Oh, no! Right onto the nano. He's 7 HP. Oh, yeah, good luck with that. Zeta's just shutting him down, and well, that seems to be the final nail in the coffin for the FPX side. Ni Zhao, you better start that ace chant if you want another round, because FPX need one right now, and it's only the 1 kill to be found. T1, they were looking down and out in that first half. FPX had the control. They were the cleaner team. But what a turnaround once they touch that attack side.
Yeah, it's always easy to forget sometimes that Lotus can be very, very attack-sided, but I do have to give credit where it's due. That was impressive from T1. I think Zeta having a huge, like, sort of clutch play within those rounds, and, well, for now at least, it's going to be back over to the desk as they take us through what we just witnessed.